Hello, I'm Elisa Zhang, and I am an ophthalmologist, oculoplastic specialist, and life coach. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about time scarcity. I often hear from people that they say that they just don't have enough time. The truth of the matter is we all have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And it's really what we do with that time that is a matter of how productive we are. And yes, we have different circumstances. Some people have children and children can take up more of their time. Some people have spouses that may or may not take up more of their time. But in the end, we do get to choose what we do with all those hours of the day. And I think often when people say they don't have enough time, they don't necessarily realize just how much time they spend on Facebook, on just kind of doing random things or really doing nothing. But when someone thinks that they don't have time, they really just can sit and find all the evidence of not having time. They can maybe list a whole bunch of tasks, but in reality, every task is negotiable. You can always hire someone else to do a task in order to find more time. So you're going to look at how you value your time. People have often asked how I managed to do so much in my day. And I think the real trick is calendaring. So I keep a Google Calendar and I put everything into that calendar. I put the hours that I'm going to be in clinic. I put the hours where I'm going to be coaching, or if I have a certain task to do, I put those hours in. If there's a certain time where I'm going to pay bills for the month, I schedule that. And if I'm going to work out, I'll schedule that in. And I look at each of that scheduling as like a date with myself. So if I schedule to have lunch with my friend, I'm not going to decide that, oh, I don't feel like it. I'm not going to show up to lunch. So when I schedule something like working out, it's a date with myself. And maybe I don't feel like working out, but I'm still going to go on that date with myself. And that's so that my future self can be happy that I, had the discipline to follow my word and do what my past self kind of scheduled for me. In the life coach school, they have a course that they call Monday Hour One, where they recommend just writing out everything that needs to be done for the whole week and scheduling that. And one of the things they actually talk about is scheduling your time off first. Because if you don't schedule your time off, then you're not going to have that rest period, and it's just never going to happen. I honestly don't probably schedule quite as much time off as maybe I should, but I do block off time where, especially depending on weather, since a lot of things I enjoy doing are outdoors. So if the weather's nice on the weekend, I want to be out kayaking or biking or hiking. And if the weather's not so nice, then I might decide to just sit and do work or other things at home. So there's definitely some flexibility in my scheduling. I definitely don't calendar every single day. Some people say that by calendaring everything, like, isn't that so rigid? Like, you can't be spontaneous. But the truth is that discipline is actually more freeing, because then I have the time to actually do everything that I need to do. Stephen Covey talks about there are things that are urgent and important, and those things, seek attention. There are things that are urgent and unimportant, and those things often get done. But there are things that are important but not urgent, and they actually often get looked over until they become urgent. But if you're always putting out fires, then that creates a really hectic life. So if you can actually do the things that are important by scheduling them in, so that they don't become urgent and need to be done immediately at that point, then that gives a lot more freedom to life as well. As a physician, there are definitely times where you just can't count for everything. As an oculoplastic specialist at a level 1 trauma center, I'm actually on call literally 24/7. I actually get called when I'm on vacation in order to ask how a patient's going to be taken care of. And granted, in oculoplastics, these things are not as life-threatening. In fact, they're typically not life-threatening. They may be sight-threatening, but there's still things that have to be taken care of. And there's definitely been some days where I've just waited around all day in order to take a patient to the OR just to have, just to be bumped from the OR because another gunshot wound's coming in. So I get it. You can't really plan for everything. But what I would recommend if you really feel like you don't ever have time is actually for a week, go to Google Calendar and actually every 15 minutes, actually write what you've been doing for those last 15 minutes or hour or whatever chunks of time. You know, if you're in clinic all day, you could just like have a long block of clinic. But, you know, if you've just been playing Facebook on your computer or playing games on your computer or looking at Facebook on your computer, you can put that down. You'd be surprised how many times you may have actually just essentially wasted 15 minutes by doing something that was, you know, completely unmeaningful. Or if you're just kind of surfing the web, or you get on Instagram and start looking at picture after picture. You know, unfortunately, a lot of media online nowadays is just meant to grab our attention. And, you know, you might look at one cat video, brings up another cat video, and just kind of go down that rabbit hole. And I've been there, I've definitely done it too. There have definitely been times where I stayed up much too late because I went on my phone and saw something which made me look something else up. And I just wasn't feeling that tired, and, you know, then got to sleep late. You know, no one's perfect. But if you really are someone who always says that they don't have time for something, think about what you're spending your time on and then what you actually want to spend your time on. Yes, there may not be time for everything. No one can do everything. But if you decide what you want to prioritize, like that is what you want to spend your time on. Right? A lot of people say that their family is their priority, but they don't prioritize time for their family, or at least not quality time with their family. And as physicians, we're lucky to have incomes high enough that we may be able to hire help in order to buy more time. So if you don't enjoy cooking or you don't enjoy cleaning, you might consider, you know, hiring someone to do the cleaning in order for you to have more time to spend with your family. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. You can also find more information about me at my website, www.wealthymindsetmd.com. At the website, you could actually sign up for my email list.